America's oldest ally appears to be switching sides. During his trip to China, French President Emmanuel Macron questioned America's support of Taiwan. In an interview with Politico, he said, "The question Europeans need to answer is it in our best interest to accelerate a crisis on Taiwan?" He went on to say, "No, exactly what the Chinese want to hear." Of course, comes as the U.S. military is about to start its largest military drills with the Philippines in decades to counter China about Taiwan. More than 17,000 troops from both countries will participate. They're literally the tip of the spear. China, of course, held its own drills around Taiwan in the past 48 hours, practicing an invasion. 91 aircraft, a dozen ships surrounded the island. In fact, the Chinese are so brazen now, they aired a simulation of their planned attack on Taiwan on Chinese state media, saying this is what's coming. Former UN Ambassador John Bolton's here, also served as President Trump's assistant for National Security Affairs, the National Security Advisor. Good to see you, sir. Is it time we bring back freedom fries?
Well, I think President Macron showed that he simply doesn't understand, I'm being polite now, what's going on in East Asia, what China's up to. And his remarks really demonstrated how short-sighted his view of the problem is. The China's effort to establish hegemony along its periphery is just a prelude to China trying to establish its hegemony worldwide. This is a European problem just as much as it's an American problem. And his remarks were unwise, out of touch with reality, but show what his real attitude is. You know, he tried to take them down off social media after they were reported. So he knows that he made that a key blunder in diplomacy of saying what he actually thinks. But I think it'll wake everybody in East Asia up that this is how the French behave when they think nobody's noticing.
You know, I don't know what was in your coffee this morning. I have never quite known you to be that polite in any answer, but we appreciate it nonetheless. I think, though, about, you know, with friends like these, who needs enemies? If we are going to, in any way, try and stare down China, it requires the Europeans as well, especially when it comes to currencies and the like. But to what extent America is willing to do that is also in question. Here's Secretary of State Antony Blinken just a couple of days ago on this issue.
Our goal is peace, security, stability, creating opportunity. It's not to engage in a new Cold War. It's not to contain China.
That was today. So after he would have had an opportunity to hear what Mr. Macron had to say, why shouldn't we want to contain China?
Well, it's we haven't done anything to change the situation in East Asia or South Asia. It's China's efforts to assert its purported authority in the case of Taiwan that's creating the crisis. Nobody wants anything other than peace. But the question is, can you have lasting peace when you're faced with this kind of provocative Chinese behavior? I haven't noticed Taiwan trying to throw a blockade around mainland China. They're clearly demonstrating that it's a threat. They're trying to bully the Taiwanese. There are presidential elections there next year. And part of what we're trying to do, or at least what the United States should be trying to do, maybe the Biden administration hasn't figured it out yet, but is to deter the Chinese. The way you maintain your interest and keep the peace is through strength. If the Chinese think that the cost of an attack on Taiwan would be far higher than anything they could hope to gain, they won't attack. And the more solidarity there are among Taiwan's allies, the lower the chance of the Chinese attack. So when Macron goes off on his own, you know, part of the damage is China doesn't know, is he speaking just for France, or even worse, is he just speaking for Emmanuel Macron, or is he speaking for all of Europe? So I think American diplomats and the press, while we're on the subject, should be saying to key European leaders, does Macron speak for you? Is that the European Union policy? Let's hear it. We need to know sooner rather than later.
Huh. Well, sometimes it's hard to know who is less aggressive, the European press or the European leadership, but I will leave that hanging out there. It's good to see you, Mr. Ambassador, as always. Thank you, sir.
Glad to be with you.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.